Hello, everybody. I'm David here. Welcome to episode number 8 of the Dugout Crew Podcast. Hope everybody's having a great day here today on this Thursday, the 11th of May 2023. I'm here with Mr. Eric Lima,
Hello?
Joey Acacia,
Hello.
Mr. Chester James,
What's up?
and Jason DeCanio.
Oh.
How are you doing?
Oh. The understatement of the world. That's how I can say. Jeez.
Yep. And
Joey is not showing himself today. That's interesting.
Yeah, but where's the camera on, Joey?
Yeah, man. There you are.
That's better.
Uh-huh. Oh, he's getting a little bit of a flex on the moustache, huh?
Well, that's what happens when you take the little gummies every day. You grow your hair out a little bit. Maybe I'll send. I'm pointing the wrong. Maybe I'll send some David's way, and he'll have a beard like me and Jason do all the time.
Yeah, well, I got to shave anyways because it's getting hot now, man. It's like 90s.
Yeah.
I learned that the hard way. Got dehydrated.
Yeah.
I was like, I had to rehydrate.
For me, I don't really want to grow a beard, but I just like it like this.
You're young, David. If you're a Red Sox fan, you'll have a long beard, and then you'll be able to cut it off after a while.
2013, and I see more.
Well, the only one with a full beard is our Houston Astros man down there in the corner, sitting in the dark. What is going on, man? Did you didn't pay your electric bill this week or something?
No, it's just that the apartment I live in doesn't have that doesn't have a light in the room that I'm.
No way.
Okay, you have to get a GoFundMe account to start. Don't make donations. Send it off to this guy so he can get a light.
And you don't have any windows in that room, I assume.
So if I send him a lighter, am I going to get fired?
No.
Like, what kind of lighter are you looking like? A butane lighter or something, man?
No, he's going to have the little lighter, and he's going to be watching the show like he's at a rock concert.
Oh yeah, that'll put him in silhouette, like two-dimensional. He's in the shadows right now. That's about all we can think.
Well, all I know is that Eric Lima down here looks pretty tired to me.
Long day, Eric.
People picking on me, that's all.
Who's picking on you?
It's been a long day at work. I mean, running around trying to do everybody else's job, and then all of a sudden, we need you to do this. We need you to that.
Oh, that's.
I know the feeling. It's just like you think you could take a load off, and then next thing you know, they bring you a stack of paperwork, and it's just like, we need this done by Tuesday.
Yeah, and like Monday, I thought I was all done. Oh, can you do this for me? Crap! I want to go home.
Yeah.
You want to go home. That's exactly it. You want to go home.
Yeah. I want to go home.
I imagine that's how most managers in baseball feel when they're sick of umpires. It's just like, I'm tired, I have to piss, and I want to go home.
Exactly. And
yeah.
I like to get this going so I can go join Jordan on his stream later.
We'll get it going for you. Don't worry.
Unfortunately, guys, dinner is calling, and my mama wants to go eat dinner. So all I'm going to say for my Mets.
Oh, you have to go going? Okay.
Yeah. Blow them off I'm off anyway next week. But if we don't get anything going by 2 weeks, you're going to hear some disastrous reports from me for like the next 3 months. So
I mean, I had my turn, so someone else had to take a turn.
Yeah. So I'm going to take mine next week, but I got to go eat some dinner with my mama. Can't keep her waiting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll see you guys. David, I'll talk to you tonight.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay, guys. Good show.
See you.
All right. See you later.
That's a good way for him to sign off. There goes Tracy. So today we are going to be, before we get to the news, we are going to be talking about our dream lineup for our teams. We're going to start with Joey's lineup and pitching. So Joey, take it away.
Okay, so I actually went back to went back to the 1930s on my first pitcher because he's left-handed and his name is Lefty Grove. Lefty Grove pitched for the old Philadelphia Athletics before they moved to Kansas City. And that's actually what leads me to another one of my pitchers when I get down to them. Because I have the recently deceased Vida Blue as well, because he was called by many people as one of the best pitchers ever. Because he had barely pitched 20 starts in the majors when he was there in 1971. 24-8, outstanding pitcher. Another left out of the rotation.
And he passed away recently. And
yeah, he was 73, but he was, if not one of the greatest left-handed pitchers of his time, even up there with Steve Arlton, despite being in the other league. For the third starter, I have the one with the greatest stare in baseball history, and that's Dave Stewart, where he had the cap right over his eyebrows. You could not see his eyes at all. I'm sorry. That was my mom. She decided to come in and mess with me, but yeah, no. Dave Stewart is my number 3 because he is one of the top stares in baseball. You don't need an intimidating fastball or anything. If you can scare somebody, that's the Randy Johnson. They call it. There was Dave Stewart first, then Randy Johnson, because you can intimidate a man with as a blank a stare as possible. But when you can't see his eyes and all you see is that glare, that's my third. Eddie Plank is my fourth, another lefty, and he pitched out of the bullpen as well for the Philadelphia Athletics. He ended up with the combined efforts of him and Lefty Grove led to 2 championships in 29 and 1930 for the Philadelphia A's. And then my number 5 is going to be another pitcher, this one from another championship team, but Catfish Hunter, who had a great career with the A's. He led him to 3 championships. Then he left to go to the Yankees, and that's where he finished his career. But that is not the most overpowering rotation at all, but I picked some of the most dominant ones. I didn't go more modern because it's harder to go more modern when it comes to pitching, especially because I know for David and Eric specifically, when it comes to their pitching staffs, that was a very difficult choice because my choice was difficult just for pitching because the A's had good modern arms with the big 3 and everything, but I could not – that would not do them justice. I can't do that justice. But that's my starting 5 for the A's out of the all-time.
And now as for the runner-up and closer.
My setup man and closer. I actually had to think about this one because my setup man and closer could switch off any day of the week because they never played with each other, but they played in the same era. Raleigh Fingers and Dennis Eckersley. Both of them were fantastic at their jobs. Raleigh Fingers had 341 career saves in a time where there was no such thing as a 1-inning save. He was going 3 innings, and he was a starter. He's one of the few pitchers to ever have 150 wins and 150 saves. John Smoltz, the other guy.
Mm-hmm.
You don't do that. You didn't go. That's why guys like Mark Marshall, who pitched for the Dodgers in 1974, when he pitched for the Dodgers, he pitched in 108 out of 162 games. Yeah. That was a workhorse pitcher then without the 300 innings. He didn't throw more than he threw he was throwing every day. He once pitched, I'm not sure if this is correct or not, but he pitched 14 days in a row without a break. 14 different appearances in a row without a break. So, that's crazy. No. Eckersley, 390. He was up there for the highest amount of saves for his time. He pitched 24 seasons, I believe. But he was one of the most dominant closers and everything. The mullet, the facial hair, and just that sidearm delivery where he was almost flinging the ball, not quite Quisenberry-like, but he was 2 of the best closers in baseball history because Raleigh Fingers had to deal with Charlie O'Finley too. So, that's my rotation and bullpen for the team.
And now let's finish it with the lineup.
My lineup consists of Ricky Henderson left field, because you got to have that leadoff hitter. You got to have a good leadoff hitter.
The all-time
Catching
base stealing record.
1406. That's right. Starting catcher is Mickey Cochran, another old-time player. Playing first base, I had Jimmy Fox. Third base, I decided to not go with Sal Bando. I decided to go with Eric Chavez. For center field, it was a difficult choice between Dave Henderson and I could put Joe Rudy out there because Joe Rudy wouldn't be playing left field, but it was between Dave Henderson and Joe Rudy. Right field, Reggie Jackson. Reggie Jackson is always going to be the right fielder. Second base, it's either Tony Phillips or Mike Gallego. Tony Phillips or Mike Gallego, those guys from the 80s, because I really couldn't think of somebody from the older times at that point. Shortstop, more modern examples were guys like not so much Bobby Crosby, but Mark Ellis played some shortstop and second base for the A's, and then you got guys like Marcus Semien who left. I think I went over first base already, so I think I got everybody. I got everybody. So
Jimmy Foster first.
That's my lineup. I had to mix a little bit of modern stuff in there because I didn't realize how good the teams were in the modern times. So, but yeah, that's my starting lineup with Henderson, Jackson, Chavez, Crosby or Ellis at short, Phillips or Gallego at second, Fox at first. Catcher is Jimmy Cochran. Oh, Mickey Cochran. Oh, DH. Harold Baines. Another older player. He played for the A's after their championship years, but still, that's how I round up my lineup at least.
Yeah. All right. Chester, what is your dream team for the Astros?
For the Astros, could it be any player from any era, from different teams, or is it just team specific?
I told you privately is just Legends.
Okay, I could do Legends. My starting pitcher would be the big unit, Randy Johnson, because he was an Astro. We took him from the. My relief pitcher would be John Smoltz. My closing pitcher would be Mariano Rivera. And then
he didn't play for the Astros, so
yeah. Nolan Ryan would be another starter. The legendary Darryl Kyle, may he rest in peace. Good pitcher. Roger Clemens.
Yeah, he would play with Houston.
Yeah, Roger Clemens and Andy Pettit's another one. He played for us during the 2005 run.
What else?
First base would be Jeff Bagwell. Second base would be Craig Biggio. Third base would be Jeff Kent. Catcher would be Brad Ausmus, because he could call a game. Trying to see.
Who else you have?
I think for right field, I would have what's his name, the Lance Berkman.
Okay.
Center fielder, I would have. He played for the Astros in 2003 or 2004. I forgot his name though.
Mm-hmm.
He was with the 2017 Astros that won the championship. Carlos Beltran. There we go. It came out.
Yeah. What about Tristan Fernandez? Do you have him on there?
Yeah. I think he would be another one I'd put in there too. My DH would definitely be Oh, my third baseman would be Ken Caminiti.
Mm.
Trying to see what left fielder though, because the Astros had a lot of left fielders.
You can pick any. You can pick any outfielder.
Well, for center, well, I thought about Joe Carter, but that's not Astro.
Mm.
Yeah.
Who are you thinking for right field? That's an outfielder. Any outfielder.
If I could give him a little help, I would suggest Richard Hidalgo.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that guy. Yeah, Richard Hidalgo would be another one.
Yeah, he was outstanding for you guys. He had a 44 home run season, drove in 120.
120.
Yeah. Damn.
All right. I guess I'll go next. For my lineup, actually, I'll go with the starting pitchers first.
Still working on mine.
Yeah, I'll go first before you.
Yeah.
For my pitching rotation, you gotta go with Pedro Martinez right out the bat. One of the best pitchers of all time. Of course, that '99 All-Star game, which Chester was watching yesterday, I guess.
Yeah.
Number 2, Roger Clemens.
The Rocket.
Yep. Part of the '86 phenomenon. Number 3, Louis Tiant. Number 4, Shannon Borg from the 1967 team. And number 5, the award that's named after him, Cy Young. And now my starting lineup. Oh, actually, I forgot the setup man and closer. Joey, listen to this. I put Lefty Grove as my setup man.
That's right. He played for the A's and he played for the Red Sox. He wasn't the hardest thrower though, but there was something about his delivery that deceived hitters and made him such a great pitcher.
Yeah. And for my closer, I gotta go with Dennis Eckersley. Because he's just an electric closer, a Red Sox Hall of Famer for broadcasting as well. You know, he called Fenway Park his home when he exited the booth last year, and I just had to put him in there as the closer. I mean, who else would be the closer? Yes, Keith Folk, but he played with other teams like Oakland, for example, before.
He did play with the White Sox as well.
Yeah, but I mean, I just had to put Dennis Eckersley as the closer. I couldn't think of any other super closers. Now for the starting lineup. At first, leading off, second base. Now it was a tough one. Bobby Dorr or Dusty Pedroia, but I had to go with Bobby Dorr. Batting second, first base, Jimmy Fox, the power hitter. I had to put him there because one of the greatest first basemen that played the game. And batting third, playing third base, Wade Boggs, who I actually had the pleasure to meet him at the 2023 winter weekend this past January.
Was he eating fried chicken?
No, and he didn't have any beer either.
Fried chicken and beer.
And at third base, one of the greatest third basemen to ever play the game, and also one of the greatest Red Sox players to ever played for Fenway Park, and also had something people don't talk about as often. He had 200 hits for many seasons in a row, and that's crazy. Batting fourth left field, you gotta put Ted Williams.
Oh yeah, good choice, David.
Yes. Number 5, I gotta put Big Poppy there, one of the greatest Red Sox legends ever, and He's the reason why the Red Sox won 4 World Series championships. Batting 6, center field. This is a tough one. I could have put, you know, Fred Lynn, or heck, even Manny Ramirez. But I had to go with Chris Speaker. Number 7, right field, Carl Yastrzemski. Batting 8, who I actually got to meet this player in the 2020 winter weekend, Carlton Fisk. And number 9, shortstop, Nomar Garcia Parra. And that is my dream team. What do you guys think about that one?
That's a good dream team.
That's not a bad team at all, especially with Boggs over third base. You're going to have a lot of hits. You're going to have a lot of good, healthy, especially if you have Ortiz in that lineup. I have a feeling he would get a lot of runs batted in and everything. I can't wait to hear Eric's because I know he put a lot of time into his, and I really am. I want to see the difference between his and yours, David. I want to really hear this.
I didn't necessarily do a lineup thing. I decided to do a roster type. I got 5 starters, 5 bullpen guys, and your starters who's going to play which position, including the DH, and who I get off the bench. This was a very difficult. Being a Red Sox fan, it's very difficult to find who the legends are, and I can't use current players right now. If I did, I would have included them into it. So what I do is I compile a roster of my own. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I will read them off to you just in case.
Oh, man. You are spoiled with... See, this is why we do this show. That is a beautiful, beautiful roster.
Dude, that's pretty good, Eric.
Yeah,
wow.
There you go. So I'll read them off to you just in case. Pedro Martinez, will be my ace. Roger Clemens will be number 2. Kurt Schilling for his heroics in the 2004 World Series, and contribution for the 2017. Number 3, Derek Lowe. Not only he's been clutch in that 2004 playoffs, he threw a no-hitter and he was a closer on top of all that. And number 5, I would put. This was difficult to put. I want to put a lefty in the rotation. It was a toss between Bruce Hurst and I forgot. And I forgot about John Lester. I'm like, oh, put John Lester in there. My bullpen, Jonathan Papelbon. Dude.
I thought about him too.
Jonathan Papelbon, he's one of the bullpen closers. And this was difficult to me to find like a setup guy and all that. I would have added Koji Uehara in this thing.
Oh yeah.
I would have added him in there. Bob Stanley was another great closer. Lee Smith was another great closer. Jeff Reardon. He played for that, 1990 AL East winning team. He was in there, and obviously I had to put Keith Folk in there. I put Keith Folk in there. In fact, he was a former Oakland Athletic, if I'm correct.
Yeah, you guys got him after the 03 season.
Yeah,
I remember correctly. I think you guys got him from Chicago. No, you guys got him from us. I think.
Yeah. We got you. Yeah, we got. Yeah. All right. So my starter's catcher, obviously Carlton Fisk. And I put Carl Yastrzemski at first base.
Oh yeah, he did play first base.
He was a primary outfielder, but for his bat, that's why I put him in the lineup. For second base, it was a toss-up between Marty Barrett and Pedroia. So I want Pedroia to start second base for this team. Wade Boggs, obviously your third baseman. Nomar, obviously your shortstop. All right, that's my shortstop. Ted Williams in left, Freddie Lynn in center, Dwight Evans in right field. And I put the 95 AL MVP, Mo Vaughn. Designated hitter. Mo Vaughn. So I was saying this was difficult too. Because 95, you also had Jose Canseco in the Red Sox lineup.
That's right. That's
him
exactly
him and Vaughn,
right.
I thought with him and Vaughn in the lineup, I said the Red Sox are going to go places. Well, obviously they got swept out by Cleveland. So, but we wanted the Sox won the division. Now for my bench, I had Veritek backing up Carlton Fisk. And if I had a third catcher, Rich Gedman would be my third catcher, like in my emergency catcher. Now, the infield was pretty difficult. So I put Kevin Youkilis on at first base. and obviously Marty Barrett would be my second base. Now I just realized for my third baseman, the backup Wade Boggs, Mike Lowell.
That's a good one
Mike Lowell.
because
Yeah.
Bill Miller.
07.
Yeah, also, I was going to put Bill Miller also because he was a Rivera killer, so to speak. Because he homered off Rivera and he delivered a game-winning base hit against Rivera in that ALCS game, that Game 4 that made the Red Sox historical comeback. Shortstop was a pretty difficult one to find someone that could back up Nomar. And I'm looking at, I could have had Spike Owen, but I decided to go with Orlando Cabrera, who made a huge difference in that Red Sox trade. So for defensive purposes, I put Orlando Cabrera backing Nomar up. Jim Rice, my backup left fielder. Center fielder was pretty difficult.
Yeah.
Ellis Burks and Johnny Damon. But I'm going to put Johnny Damon in center field. And then Manny Ramirez in right field. And then Big Papi David Ortiz is your DH in the backup. So that
nice.
That is a good roster.
Yeah.
My main question is, and this isn't about your lineup, but what type of player would Manny Ramirez have been had he got all the weight on him and everything like he did in the mid-2000s and then tried to play right field? Would he have been would he have been the above-average defender like he was in left field at Fenway where he was throwing runners out on balls off the wall?
That's a very good question. That's why I made it. It was a difficult decision for me to put Ramirez in right and Rice in left and all that. So, and I could have switched positions. I would have put Ramirez in left, Rice in right, or Johnny Damon in right or something like that. It was like I said, this was a very difficult roster to make because you got a lot of great players that came by the Red Sox over the years. But I've also wanted to get players that contributed to the championship teams too. Who made big, huge contributions, like Derek Lowe, first guy to win all clinch games. In 04. That's huge. Curt Schilling, that performance he did in Game 6 of the ALCS and in Game 2 in the World Series. And then and like I said, I could go with Koji Uehara replacing one of the guys in the bullpen. Like if he'd be my sixth Burton, and then Hideki Okajima, who was a great setup guy. Where'd you go, David?
I'm right here.
He's outside.
No, he's outside. Where'd you go? Anyway.
I'm right here. I just had to do some with the door.
Yeah, David's outside now. He said earlier, maybe an eagle will do a James Paxton to him and land on his shoulder.
All right. So I would have added Okajima and Matsuzaka because they're 07 contributions in the World Series. And you got, like I said, because Uehara was their closer in 2013. So I put, Stanley and Lee Smith and Reardon were some of the best closers from other teams. When they come over to the Red Sox, they still cemented that. Keith Folks, same thing. Papelbon, who was a homegrown dude, coming up on and I like I said, Pedro Martinez coming over from Montreal, that was a huge get for us. Even Roger Clemens, he did 20 strikeouts in one game twice. Curt Schilling, Derek Lowe, John Lester. Lester threw a no-hitter. I would have added Clay Buchholz for his no-hitter in 07 and the contributions in 2013 as well. So,
sorry, continue.
Yeah, the lineup, like I said, I always go by contributions as well as numbers as well. So that's my Red Sox Legends roster.
Red Sox were so damn spoiled with talent, it makes me sick.
Yeah. And it took them 86 years to win a World Series.
That's the scary part because as many chances as the Red Sox had, and I'm not trying to dig up old wounds, but it wasn't the curse of the Bambino so much as the Red Sox ran into a lot of good teams, especially when it came to that. Because 1975, Carlton Fisk hits the home run. Right. They go to a Game 7, and you took the Big Red Machine to a Game 7 in 1975. Then you guys, in the 80s, you had to deal with the A's, who ended up losing 2 of those World Series anyways, which makes you think, would the Red Sox have beaten the Dodgers in '88 a full 30 years before they played them in the World Series in '17 like they did?
And then we took we'll talk about '86. The Angels, they had a pretty decent team until Dave Henderson. There's another guy that I thought.
Hendu kind of. Donnie Moore is kind of a sad situation with what happened to him after that series. But that's the '86 team. I'm going to go off the record and say the 1986 World Series was one of the best of all time, right up there with 1991. Because you had that game. Game 6 is for a number of different reasons into Game 7, because I think people were spoiled during that time frame, because in 6 years you had some of the most exciting World Series games played. Because 1985 you go to a 7th game, 1986 you go to a 7th game, 1987 I don't think they went 7 games, but all those World Series, especially for the older people who watch this stuff, spoiled as hell when it came to all that talent, especially in the Boston area. That team had some of the greatest pitching arms in their history during the 80s, 90s, the 2000s and 2010s, and even now, because Porcello, you guys had Joe Kelly, all this young talent led to 4 World Series championships. And I know I'm talking from an A's fan's perspective, because the A's had plenty of good talent, but they let it go. They gave the Red Sox Jonas Cespedes.
Yeah. That's crazy.
And also, as for the 75 team, the World Series roster, both sides has similar lineups.
You had Ken Griffey Jr.'s father, Ken Griffey Sr.
Yeah.
And
who seem to be lost in the shuffle, don't you think?
Yeah. I mean, I still remember him, but it's like, he doesn't get much talked about.
Yeah, and the reason why I started Dwight Evans, because Dwight Evans is a great defender. He's a great hitter, he's a great defender. Dude hit a double play. He catch a ball from, I think, Joe Morgan. He caught a fly ball from Joe Morgan and got Ken Griffey Sr. off of first base.
And also, if my dream team was the Seattle Mariners, I would actually put both Ken Griffey's in the same lineup. I would have done that.
Yeah. Yeah, love Ken Griffey's, man.
But that's going to be it for this segment here, and maybe we can do something like this again in the next 3 episodes. Maybe legends from all the game, or maybe from other different teams, but we'll go with that once. Maybe.
David, I don't mean to interrupt, but I'm asking all you guys, I'm saying this closer only, for your all-time team, not just your team, because I know Jesse was going over this earlier. If you had a choice between all those closers that were great, even Rivera, after all he went through to get to where he was, could you pick one closer overall that was the greatest? That includes Hoffman, Rivera, Lee Smith, Jeff Reardon, like Eric said, because all those guys at one point had the all-time save record.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's difficult. That's a difficult one. I would have if it's all-time, forget teams and everything else, all-time, I would have gone with the Sandman himself, Rivera.
Same
guy, because I'll tell you one thing right now, watching him play, especially against the Red Sox, he's always been focused. He's always,
he won a lot of championships too with the Yankees in the 90s.
Yeah. Another closer for the Yankees at that time before Rivera came in, John Wetland.
John Wetland. And the Yankees were also spoiled with closers because Righetti and Sparky Lyle.
Sparky Lyle, I remember that one.
2 lefties. Closers were not meant, I'm not saying this to be biased, but lefties weren't always closers. They were mostly starters. That's why Righetti was a starting pitcher, but when he replaced Sparky Lyle like he did, he was going to the bullpen. That's why he had the most, I think he still has the most saves by a left-handed pitcher until if Jason was here, he would get this one. John Franco, most saves by a left-handed closer ever at 424. And then another good one was Jesse Orozco, who got the final out in the 86 World Series.
Oh, yeah.
And he pitched forever. He pitched from 1979. He played almost as long as Henderson did. He pitched 25 seasons until he was 46, right around the time Ricky retired. So, yeah, no, it was something. And neither one of those guys took anything to experience their longevity, because guys like Nolan Ryan, Julio Franco, those guys, because they showed what Nolan Ryan did. He would just go to the gym, lift weights, and do all that stuff. That's
Nolan
insane.
Ryan. That's one guy.
Yeah.
On the Red Sox. Nolan freaking Ryan, man. Most strikeouts.
The only pitcher to never win. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, best pitcher. That's right. The best pitcher ever to never win a Cy Young.
Yeah.
His numbers were crazy too, because one season he went 8-16 one season. His ERA was 2 3/4. You know why he was 8-16? Because he had 0 run support. That's where DeGrom had his downfall when he was a Cy Young. And Felix Hernandez, when he had his 13-12 year that they tried to give him the Cy Young for. Pitching requires good run support, and a good offense requires good pitching. That's why these hitters, especially Nolan Ryan, because he won over 300 games and he had the most strikeouts in history. But people think about it this way. The 2 greatest strikeout pitchers in Major League Baseball history, from the left side, it's Randy Johnson, no question. Because I would have loved, because Randy Johnson had bad back problems. He was 6'10", 215 pounds, and maybe. Because they listed him as 230. I don't believe that man was 230 pounds on that frame. Because the eyes, the facial hair and everything, the hair. He's throwing 102. John Kruk says hello. Kruk.
You mentioned
right over his head, and then Larry Walker. Larry Walker is my favorite one. He turns the helmet around, goes to the right side. He's like, he works a walk, my favorite line from that thing with John Kruk is, well, I wanted to go up there and get a base hit. Now I just wanted to go up there and live, and I did.
Yeah, and you mentioned Jason earlier. His dream lineup for the 1986 Mets. But
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I would not be surprised.
That 86 Mets team versus that 86 Red Sox team. Davey Johnson versus John McNamara. That's about as good. That's like old school Western when it comes to how that planned out and everything. And even the 86 Astros, who had Nolan Ryan on that team. The Mets had to go through hell. I can't imagine the 86 Red Sox, and I'm saying this to be nice, having a chance if it's the Astros in 1986.
It would be
Nolan Ryan for 3 out of 7 games in his prime. Because 1986, he's 39 years old at that point. He's supposed to be at the end of his career. He's pitched for 17 seasons at that point, and he's still throwing bullets. He's throwing them pellets. And he's throwing off-speed pitches that would make you fall out of your chair if you were sitting at the home plate.
I would have loved to see him and Clemens go at it.
Oh, my God.
God. Talk about a pitcher's duel? Come on now.
You want to talk about being robbed of history? I'm actually going to check this out. I want to know if they ever faced off, because Clemens pitched until 2007, 14 years after Nolan Ryan retired. And the only reason Nolan Ryan retired his last game, he felt his arm give out in his last game of his career. He kept throwing. He threw over 5,000 innings.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that, like Randy Johnson, he couldn't find the plate if he tried. He pitched in 1966 with Jerry Koosman and those guys for those Mets teams back in the 60s. If Nolan Ryan doesn't get that advice from Tom House, who was the pitching coach from the Rangers at that time, he ends up not having this career. It's like that thing with Michael Jordan and everything, where it's just like, if you don't think you're going to have a good career without a little advice, that's why all these guys practice the way they do, because Nolan Ryan pitched 27 seasons. No one's come close to that. You don't pitch 27 years in the majors and strike out 5,700 batters by just being that damn good. You've got to be good, because in my mind, a team that has Roger Clemens, Pedro Martinez, and Nolan Ryan, no chance. None. You got Pedro with his pitches, including his. I'm trying to remember his. I think he threw a Bugs Bunny changeup, and it just dropped. But if I had a choice to set up a rotation for the Red Sox, and I know this might perk your guys' ears, Johan Santana would be one of the pitchers. Johan Santana in his prime was one of the greatest pitchers. Triple Crown winner as a pitcher. 2-time Cy Young winner. That's just my feelings on how Boston could have been one of the greatest, and they're still one of the greatest. They've won 4 championships in the last 20 some odd years after going without it for 86. But yeah, no, if you just throw rotations together and you want to spitball all day, that's fine. But yeah, no, there's a lot of debate about this stuff, and that's why it makes this game such a cherished thing, because I can't imagine just facing down, because they said, and I don't know if you guys have heard of this guy before. His name was Steve Dukowski. He was rumored to be the fastest pitcher ever. He apparently was throwing upwards of 115 miles an hour, and when they finally measured him out, he only came out to about 92, 93. But that was when he was way older, and he had blown out his arm.
Faster than Satchel Paige.
Well, Satchel Paige was a different case. He had a thing called a hesitation pitch, where he would wind up and then he'd stop. And nowadays, that's a balk.
Yeah.
And they just throw the ball. That's why baseball is a thinking man's sport, just like football is. Say if Eric's a manager. Eric has Jesse warming up in the bullpen. And he has David, who is a right-handed hitter, coming up. Jesse has been warming up, and his best pitcher has thrown a lot of pitches, and it's a one-run ball game in the 8th inning. There's nobody on base. Jesse stopped throwing warm-ups because Eric's gone out to the mound and told me, I need to take you out. And I nod my head, and I give him the baseball, and I say, okay. He brings Jesse in. Jesse gets the save and everything. Does that change anything? No. Had I said no when Eric said, give me the goddamn ball and get out of here, that'd have been a different story.
Because Trevor Bauer and threw the ball in center field.
I'm not going to throw the ball in the stands.
Yes, that's good.
That's what Byung-Hun Kim did after a save, after he ended up, I think it was the year after he ended up blowing those saves in New York. He threw the ball into Monument Park. And you got to understand, that takes a lot of arm strength. I can't imagine doing that. You got the rubber band and just throwing a base. See, throwing a baseball 400 feet over a wall, I get that. But that's because of long toss. That's why they call it long toss.
Yeah. All right, let's get to the news right here. Umpire told Zach Evelyn that he had to remove his wedding ring.
Oh my God!
And it was on his gloved hand, not on his pitching hand.
Yep. Ridiculous.
It's under his glove?
It was in his gloved hand.
Okay. How does that make sense? I get it if it's on his throwing hand, because then he's just doing this with a baseball. I don't have my baseball with me, but he's just digging the ring into the ball. I get that. That's doctoring the baseball. Just leave it alone. He's showing everyone that he's married.
Yeah.
Leave the guy alone.
For real, it doesn't make any sense at all. Matt Harvey on Instagram retired from the game of baseball, saying, I quote, goodbye, baseball, I love you. So Matt Harvey announced his retirement.
That's a damaged career.
Yep.
He ended up getting because this goes back to the whole Tyler Skaggs thing. He might have been involved in that, and they yeah, Matt Harvey was a good pitcher, but if he was involved in the whole Tyler Skaggs death, I'm not overly exuberant about that guy. I just can't.
Astros starting pitcher Luis Garcia will have Tommy John surgery. So
Gotta love that.
Woe is me, woe is them.
And also, this was on the thing I saw on the news, is that Astros have fans buy the 2022 World Series ring for $15,000.
$15,000.
Yep.
I remember there was a story about William the Refrigerator Perry. A kid bought what he thought was a replica ring, and it turned out to be William the Refrigerator Perry's actual Super Bowl ring.
Huh.
But you know how big his fingers are and everything, so kid bought it on, I think it was eBay or something, and he gave it back to him. That's the way I remember it. But $15,000 for a World Series ring. I thought it would be valued at a lot more with all the jewels and everything on it like it has.
Yeah. Yoshida got to meet his idol, Bryce Harper, and when Red Sox went to Philadelphia for their series earlier this past week. And Holy Jimenez is going to miss some time due to a appendectomy. I don't know what that word is, but
appendectomy.
Appendectomy?
Yeah.
Oh, that's where they remove your appendix, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, you get your appendix out because your appendix is essentially a useless organ anyways. And if it blows, it gives you sepsis and it makes you very sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, so going to the 10-day IL. Now, this is a question that was asked by the ESPN Sunday Night Baseball announcers. I try to watch every Sunday Night Baseball game because it's the game of the week. The announcer asked Mickey Betts, what's the better rivalry, Dodgers Padres or Red Sox Yankees? How is that even a question? Have you forgot the Dodgers Giants?
Well, there is and with two Red Sox fans sitting next to me, I'll say this: Red Sox Yankees is always and forever going to be one of the bloodiest rivalries ever because of one reason only. Pedro Martinez throwing a 72-year-old man on his head.
Oh, yeah. I remember that one.
And Babe Ruth.
Babe Ruth didn't have a real big part in the rivalry to begin with. He did play for both teams, but if Frazee, I think that's the way they said his name, that was the guy who ended up selling Babe Ruth to the Yankees.
Yeah, because of the theater. So.
Yeah, because of a theater. Imagine your act gets killed, or the act stinks. And literally, Major League Baseball came about because a guy wanted to build a theater for an opera.
And don't get me wrong, I love the Dodgers Padres rivalry that's been going on since 2020. But the thing is, it's not that historic. It's like
it's 3 years old.
Yeah, it's 3 years old. It's like early stages.
I don't know.
And plus, that first playoff series between them in the rivalry was 2020 where no fans.
There's been more incidences between the Red Sox and the Yankees than there have been between
and plus
the Dodgers and the Padres because getting thrown at because I can name you 2 incidents right off the bat that I remember the most. 3 actually that happened at Fenway Park. Kareem Garcia gets hit in the back of the head. Pedro Martinez and Posada go at it, and Pedro does this where he points at his head and everything, and he's basically saying, "I'll remember that," because he's talking to Posada. And then Clemens throws the bow tie pitch to Manny and everything, and then next year,
I haven't seen a brawl, like an actual brawl between the Dodgers Padres yet in this rivalry, so you can't
No,
really count that. So
because that's the thing. They don't do bench clearing brawls really anymore, except for the one between the Mariners and the Angels. I think it was last
yeah,
year,
it was
where
last year in June.
that was one of the biggest brawls I've seen in a long time, because that's bad. There's bad blood between them, because that's been going back for years too. It's AL West, so
What's the Contreras saying in the interview? For me, I like this better. It's a better organization. He's talking about the St. Louis Cardinals.
ooh, that's stoking the flame, because the Cubs and the Cardinals have had bad blood, because
Yep, that's
when
another
Dusty
rivalry.
Baker played with Tony La Russa, they didn't like each other, and that's why that rivalry got really started. Because I think it was June 3rd, 2003. The Cubs and the Cardinals were playing, and La Russa and Dusty Baker started yelling at each other from each other's dugouts. They had to be separated, and benches were cleared. Oh, Timber! I think we lost Jesse for a sec.
The other day's Cubs Marlins game was just the third 14 pitch. 14 and okay. Was just the third 14 inning game since 2020 when the runner at second base rule was debuted. There were 23 games in 2019.
I have an opinion on that. The Ghost Runner is not a bad idea, but it's also a bad idea because you're trying to move the games along. You're putting a runner on second base and everything. Well, it's not about the runner on second base being a bad thing. It's just the fact that it's not extending games. It's killing rallies, because imagine that. You can't get a runner in from second base with nobody out.
That's tough.
Your offense is that amicable that you can't. It's like giving a skinny guy a hamburger and telling him, go get it. It's all yours. There's no strings attached. And they say no.
And also in 2019 alone, there were 23 14 inning games.
So a lot has changed in 4 years, though.
Yeah, definitely. A complete game shutout for Mitch Keller. It breaks the Pirates' streak of 370 games without a certain pitcher throwing a complete game. The New York Mets.
Oh wow, that's a long time, because now that I think about it, I don't think the complete game is going to go extinct. Not like the shutout isn't going to go extinct, because they just combine shutouts now. They have people going 5 innings and then have the bullpen arms throw an inning each.
That's what no hitters are now, technically.
Mason Miller throwing 7 innings and throwing 100 pitches. Pitch counts, pitch limits. I get it.
New York Mets signed a minor league contract to Gary Sanchez after opting out with the Giants. Or what? Yeah, I believe that was the other Giants. Orlando Magic co-founder Pat Williams is hoping to have an MLB expansion team for the Tampa Bay Rays brought to Orlando per front office sports. The Philadelphia Phillies and the League Mets will reportedly play a regular season series in London next season. Dodgers.
That went over well last time because it's overseas, and I know they want to play in Australia again, I believe, because they're supposed to be playing in Mexico next season too.
The Phillies and New York Mets will reportedly play. Oh yeah. All right. All right. Talk about that. Dodgers are staying at legendary haunted Fisher Hotel in Milwaukee, but not Mookie Betts. Renting Ari being for some friends and staying there, and I quote, just in case the stories are true, and doesn't really want to believe it the hard way. Well,
you stay with your team. You don't stay with other people.
Yeah.
What does that say about you if you because player egos can run rampant and everything. I get that part, but wouldn't you if you were on a
Like you
team
feel more comfortable being with the team than like you feel comfortable with being with the team. You know what I'm saying?
it's not a and there's no I in team. I know that's a tired and true saying, but if somebody doesn't want to stay with their team, what does that say about them? That means they're
Yeah.
not truly a team player. I mean, I get it. Sometimes you need the alone time, but sometimes you gotta do the right thing and stay in the hotel with the rest of the team. You
Well,
don't need
it's haunted. That's the reason why that he doesn't want to stay there. It's haunted.
haunted.
Yeah, it's a haunted hotel. That's what I said.
I guess players really are superstitious, aren't they?
Yep.
Haunted
Uh,
hotels are fun though.
hmm.
What's
I
going to
stuck
happen?
out.
He's going to lose his ability to play center field and start playing infield again?
I don't know. He's played shortstop once this season or a few times. Otani's 502nd career strikeout is the most pitchy strikeouts among the players who have hit 100 plus career home runs passing Babe Ruth. But got a long way to go, especially with that 714 mark. Become the next size of people we'll see. Carlos Correa on getting booed in Minnesota. I'll boo myself too with the amount of money I'm making, and I'm playing like that.
That's a humbling experience because that's what happened when David Wright was not doing well in New York when Citi Field first opened up. They were booing him because they didn't like the fact that he was the captain and you don't generally boo your captain like that. So
Yeah.
honestly, if you're not doing well and they're booing you and you understand why, then it's not going to be an issue in the future, hopefully.
Yeah. Um. Uh. Oh. Marlins. Are 12-0 this season with 1-1 games. Jacob DeGrom expected to miss 2 to 3 more weeks with elbow inflammation. That's not surprising news at all. The Braves placed Max Fried on the 15-day IL, and Kenny Chasen just last night recorded his 400th career save. Only 6 total pitchers have 100 saves. So congratulations to Kenny Chasen on getting that 400th save.
78 more and he'll tie Lee Smith.
Well, actually, he's the 7th pitcher of all time. I meant to say there's other 6 pitchers that got 400 saves, but now he's become the 7th pitcher to get the 400 saves. So, let's do some quick reports right here, right now. Chester, you want to go first? You have like at least 3 to 5 minutes.
Okay. So the Astros took on the Mariners. Game 1, top of the third. 1 man on. Seattle decides to walk Bregman, and in order to face a hot Yordan Alvarez, and guess what happened? Boom! He blasted one and made it 4-0. Basically the Astros. And then of course, the bad pitching led to them coming back, but Kyle Tucker came back and helped Astros win it. So the series basically
What?
the series was split, I think 2-1. Oh no, that was against the 2-1. The Astros lost the series. Then the Stros take on the Angels. They managed to win that one 2-1. That series 2-1. And Michael Brantley, as for the injury report, Michael Brantley was sent back to Houston to get examined due to his sore shoulder. If anything, they should just trade him and see what they could get for him. But yeah,
Hmm.
And then Chas McCormick is shut down yet again with a sore back.
Ouch.
And injury update: Jose Altuve is expected to return in late May. So he's way ahead of schedule. You think he's on some kind of PEDs, David?
Yep. Yep. All right. Well, Joey, you're next. You have about 3 minutes.
So the A's are now 8-29. I think 8-30. They're closer to the 10-win mark, but I've been keeping up with their progress for the season, and unfortunately, the A's have tied and are keeping pace with the Detroit Tigers from 2003. They won 2 out of 3 against Kansas City, and then they went into New York. They went into New York, and they got they absolutely got dismantled, destroyed. Like, I'm not going to go there because I know that'd be downtrodden and everything. The A's are still making progress, I know. In other
Yeah,
news, they couldn't get a place in Las Vegas, so now they're moving around in Nevada, but the lease ain't up on the stadium, the Coliseum they're at till next year. So whatever happens with this team, it's going to be drama the rest of the season. Not just for the team, but for everyone else, everything else surrounding it. The A's do have good hitters going through. They picked up J.J. Bleday last offseason, and that was a 1-for-1 trade. Puck is now with the Marlins. He's doing fantastic. Bleday, he's 11 for 28. He's just destroying the ball. He's doing what he couldn't do in Miami. Rooker's still hitting the hell out of the ball. Ruiz is still another great pickup. This team is 8-30 for reasons out of their own control, because the pitching is not good. The bullpen is not good. If you give this team even one good, proven arm, I'm sure this team would be a lot better. Not going to be negative about it anymore because owner don't care. The fans do. They're chanting, sell the team at the games. These players are playing for a man who does not care about him. Might as well call him Charlie O'Finley Jr. Because if they had the owner like the Ricketts family, which bought, I think that was the Red Sox owner, or is that no? That's the Cubs. If the Red Sox owned the owner of the Red Sox owned the A's, I'm sure things would be a lot better. They'd have a lot more money, and they'd be competing right now.
You're talking about John Henry.
Yes, John Henry. John Henry is one of the better owners. He treats his team with respect, and look where that's got them. He got them 4 World Series titles. He brought in all kinds of talent and everything. Meanwhile, the only thing John Fisher's done is going, oh, I'll trade you this for peanuts and Cracker Jacks.
Also, Jordan Diaz.
Jordan Diaz.
3 home runs at Yankees Stadium.
That is one of their good prospects. Jordan Diaz is supposed to be something great. Do I wish he would cut down on the strikeouts like everyone else? Yes. But no. 2-4 on the road trip. They're 8-30. Still, things are looking up, so I'll let you guys get to the Red Sox report.
Eric?
Okay, the Red Sox, I'll tell you what. Heck of a week the Red Sox have been having. You take 2 out of 3 against Cleveland, and then sweeping the Toronto Blue Jays, who gave the Red Sox a hard time last season, of course, and you had great hitters, so that impressed me more. And then you have 2 more games against Philly. Philly did stop them on this past Sunday, stopped their 8-game winning streak. And Masataka Yoshida's 16-game hitting streak came to an end last night after going 0-for-4. But the Red Sox did win and beat Atlanta. Kenley Jansen, 400 saves. That's another closer. The Red Sox, who would desperately need it. And, Kenley Jansen is one guy that we'll have to look out for. Yoshida with a 16-game hitting streak is good. Verdugo, there's no doubt. All the Red Sox has been contributing so far. So I don't know who we got next. I think, St. Louis, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, we got St. Louis over the weekend. So we'll see what Sox can do against them. So,
and also Kenny Jensen too. He's been going hard.
Yeah, Kenley Jensen. Yeah, so he's got to be careful because of his back and all that. So,
True that. But
so
I am impressed by his efforts, though. He's looking like he's back when he was in his prime during the Dodgers, with the Dodgers.
yeah, I remember the Red Sox had to face him in the World Series. So, and he was a scary guy. So I'm glad the Sox got him, and he's doing well. And the amazing part about the Red Sox now jumping out of the basement into third place is that they've been doing this effort without Adam Duvall in the lineup and Trevor Story in the lineup.
yeah,
Imagine if they come back, what's going to let you got to cut a few players and bring them back or go to the minors. I know probably Tristan Casas could be one, end up being one, but I don't know. I really don't know how this is going to play out. So
Duran has been very helpful to this lineup.
Yeah, Jaron Duran. Maybe the young talents. When Adam Duvall comes up, give Jaron Duran some more seasoning in Worcester. Well,
and Duran also, he's been more mature, and also he's been having fun as of late this season. So that's a great sign to see after everything he went through last year. Getting called up so many times with the drama in Kansas City and everything else. Duran, paying himself this season. That's a good sign.
Yeah. So I think if Adam Duvall comes back, you can have him DH for a bit to make sure.
Yeah, and Justin Turner at first.
Tristan, like Justin Turner can hit against lefties and sit Tristan Casas down if Tristan Casas is struggling and all that. So, we'll see what happens though. You also get Trevor Story coming back, possibly in July, I think, and that's one. So
also Casas hit a long home run yesterday, a big one.
Yeah, and that's always the key. So Tristan Casas has been hitting. So we'll see what happens and how Alex Cora is going to deal with this. So
it's a good problem to have if you're the Red Sox.
Boston is definitely going to be dangerous.
Yeah,
because you got Toronto and Baltimore ahead of you, but you guys have finally started.
Yeah.
When you guys were 10-10, now you guys have finally started. Now the wheels are turning and everything. Now the train's starting to pick up some slack, and now you're going down. Not down, but you're going. You're all fueled up and ready to go. That's the important part about the Red Sox team right now.
The Rays are already won the division right now.
I would not say that, David. I would not say that because stranger things have happened in baseball.
Oh, yeah.
I want to say that the Red Sox have a distinctive chance right now, even if it's just a wild card spot. Very dangerous team to face in the future because the Rays can win as many games as they want. The 2001 Mariners taught everybody. It doesn't matter how many games you win.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't win the big games when it counts the most, it's not going to help you worth a damn. And I'm saying that as a baseball fan.
Look what happened with the Dodgers last year, too.
Yeah, the Dodgers, they said they were going to win the World Series. What happened with that?
Yeah, Dave Roberts said that at the beginning of the season. We're going to
don't put your foot in your mouth before you. It's always don't put the cart before the horse. Yeah. And, of course, there he goes.
Yep, he said, we're going to win the World Series this year. Mark it down. Here comes the Padres, getting you out there in the first round. So
expect the unexpected. That's how baseball works.
Yep.
You'll see something new every single time.
And plus, look what happened with I hate to bring this up, but the Yankees in '78. They came back from how many games down in the division?
I think it was 13 or something like that, 13 or 14.
So, anything can happen with the Rays in this division. Yes, people say they haven't won it. It's only time will tell because anything can happen. So, that's going to be it for this episode. Thank you all for watching. I will see you all for episode number 9, Ted Williams' number, next week. Don't forget to subscribe to the David Tyson Network for great more content like this one.